We've asked the question so many times this season, who and what are the 2025 Buffalo Bills? Well, they definitely came out and made a statement against the Steelers on Sunday. Let's get into that matchup and what this win told us about the Bills. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Katie Caldwell. This is Jeff Lloyd. Jeff, the Bills set a rushing record for a visiting team in Pittsburgh since the stadium opened. Last week, Josh Allen was sacked 8 times. Now they're missing both tackles and don't allow a single sack. What was the biggest difference between this week and last week?
As we talked about a little earlier today in another video, it's what is working for you right now as a team? And
Mhm.
look, Buffalo, we all can heap the praises of what Josh Allen has done, the player that he is. But right now, he doesn't have the band. He's the
Mhm.
solo act. He can't be the guy that can throw for 350 yards consistently. They are just not getting that type of play from their receiving unit. And interestingly enough, he chose not to call anybody out afterwards about it, interestingly enough. So you stick with what, hey, it's here. And they even said during the game, yes, you're missing a lot of your offensive line, but big guys, just go be big.
Mhm.
Get in the way. Just lean on people. And it was one point where James Cook was cooking, and it was either the shoe came off, whatever. He went to the sideline, waved himself off.
Oh, yeah.
Ray Davis came in, blasted off like 2 runs that were like 29, 30 yards, and all of a sudden, there was James Cook ready to come back in, and, like, he got the hand in the chest, like, "Wait, hold up. This is something we didn't see expecting right now, but Ray's cooking, so we're gonna let Ray cook here for a
Yep.
little bit." So, like, basically, whichever way they were trying to make it work, and even Josh Allen, look, former MVP, will always be an MVP candidate.
Mhm.
Sometimes, and we talked about this, Katie, Josh Allen's going to find a way to affect the game himself. Well, you know what? If nobody's going to catch it, then I'm going to run the damn thing.
Yeah.
And I will get the yards we need this way. And they just pulverized that
Mhm.
Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And look, TJ Watt's making $40 million a year, and he's getting pushed around by
Yep.
backup offensive tackles, can't get pressures on an offensive tackle, can't get a sack on an offensive tackle. This guy just, it's not like he's at the end of his deal making 40 million. He just signed this deal. You want to talk about a team that looks like they gave a bad contract out of what somebody had done as opposed to what somebody still can do. That's the case. And, whatever happened, and you know what, the Josh Allen, Cam Hayward thing was beautiful. Because look, Cam
That was
Hayward,
beautiful.
whatever you are saying at this point, he's Josh Allen. And unfortunately, you're not necessarily Cam Hayward anymore. And I know what Cam was trying to do. And he was trying to fire everybody up and maybe try to bully the Buffalo Bills, but it absolutely backfired, and Pittsburgh got bullied in their own home.
It feels like the TJ Watt and Myles Garrett debate is no longer a debate. That's a question for another video. But you're right, though, about Josh Allen, where before it felt like we were seeing him scramble when the other plays just didn't work out. Now it feels like there were quite a few designed runs for him in this game, and we hadn't seen a lot of that. This feels like I'm putting on my Captain Obvious hat right now, but how important is it to fully game plan around him being a part of the running game like that?
Well, I think there's a twofold to this, because the thing is you want to, if you're Buffalo, you want to start putting pressure on other teams, going, "Hey, we're running the ball really well right now." So
Mhm.
you want that. And what's maybe going to create a little more separation for a wide receiver group that's having problems creating separation? It's going to be the threat of the run. It's going to
Mm.
be the fact that you just iced and diced the Pittsburgh Steelers for 250, whatever the number absolutely was. And look, we're getting to that time of the year. The fields can be a little slippery. And like you heard in Pittsburgh, you heard in Cleveland, when the referee is trying to give you a penalty call and you hear, going through his microphone, you understand the wind, you understand the circumstances and
Yes.
the weather in those games. And in that situation, look, the ball's a little harder, it's a little difficult to throw, it's a little more difficult to catch. Well, if I can just run it and I can eliminate all of those problems, you do it. And for Buffalo, it's not about what's worked year in, year out. It's what is working now, especially for Buffalo. Probably not going to catch the New England Patriots, but you still want in, obviously, for Buffalo. You want in this playoff
Yeah.
race. It just might have to be an alternative route.
That's the thing. The Patriots do have such a strong hold at 10-2, 9 straight wins, but the Bills just feel like if they get in, which I'm sure they will, I don't really wanna go up against them.
Yeah. Been there before. Obviously, now you know they have the ability to run the ball and run the ball well because that's obviously
Mhm.
big. As much as questions have been this year about what's wrong with Buffalo's offense. It's I agree, but in the same respect, there hasn't been enough. Wow, James Cook took a stance and said he wanted his money, and guess what? James Cook got his money, and
Mhm.
James Cook is still out there showing you that he deserved that money. He
Yes.
is out there, and he is playing extremely well. So it has defenses backing up. Now you're bringing more, and then you bring a guy like Ray Davis, and I mean there were holes yesterday. And no exaggeration. You were literally going to drive a minivan through, and simple cut back, and you could see the lane a mile away. And even on the sloppy field, bad footing, short choppy steps, run a daylight. It was simple for
Mm.
Buffalo. And you would think Pittsburgh at some point would have just said, put 11 at the line of scrimmage. There was nothing they could do. Buffalo was in the zone running the football, and it just got worse as it went on.
Quick pause. If you haven't subscribed to the BetCanada YouTube channel, you can do so below. It's free and it helps support our channel so we can keep bringing you NFL and NHL content. Now, back to the show. Yeah, let's move into the Steelers side of things because their game plan is just blowing my mind right now. With Arthur Smith, what is the game plan there? Because the Bills have a bad run defense. The Steelers only rushed for 58 yards in total? And then my second question, like, what happened to DK Metcalf? Like, this team looks really disjointed to me. Let's get into their offense right now.
Well, easy. I mean, look, if I am defending the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm just going to put bracket coverage on DK Metcalf.
Mm,
Underneath and over. You want to know what? If you're going to beat me throwing the ball, Aaron Rodgers, it's going to be somebody else besides DK Metcalf. And that was the thing. And look, everybody knows they were trying all late summer. They were trying early. They were trying at the deadline. They wanted to do something to improve that wide receiver room.
mhm.
Granted, maybe the guy they needed was the guy they hastily traded away to the Dallas Cowboys.
Imagine that.
If there was anybody that could have maybe reined in a Pickens on a contract year and said, "Look, man, this might be my last dance, but I'm gonna get you paid." Maybe that would have worked for Pittsburgh. Nah, can't basically shove it back in. You can't put the light bulb back in the lamp, whatever it is. But that was a situation where you took away a situation where it was supposed to be a strength. And
Mm,
look, Calvin Austin, nice player, nice role player. Roman Wilson. I mean, these are just not guys. Sadly, for them, maybe they can develop to be good players. But at this point, Aaron Rodgers kind of needs the best of the best. There's still flaws now in Aaron's game, and it's not
you
going
don't
to
say.
work with lesser guys. And him. Oh well, I checked down to him. And it was Johnny Smith. He gave him the check. Somehow Smith missed it, ran it. And look, if you want these guys to buy in, Aaron, you don't try to call them out while you're on the field. You lean in while the cameras are there and just say, yo, man, I checked for you to run the in. You ran the out. Make sure your eyes are on me. Don't call them out. It just discourages things. It makes young players play
Mhm,
more tense. He's done this his entire career. There were guys that were good enough that got over it, but you're not going to get a whole bunch of Devontae Adamses. It's just not the way it works.
mhm.
So a small way to help them as opposed to a major way where everybody knows what you're doing. And that's something. But the other thing is he was never that good this year.
Nope.
Let's be honest. He was
This is
throwing for
the Aaron
some.
Rodgers I expected to see this year.
Yes. They don't have a running game, and they
Mhm,
really haven't had a running game. Jalen Warren was a really nice back when he was playing with Najee Harris, where
mm,
now it's more of, oh, well, he's kind of the feature guy. Jalen Warren kind of lose some appeal when he is now the feature guy. So that's something that's not working for them. He is just not playing very well. He's not throwing for 200 yards a game. Granted,
mhm.
he doesn't have the weapons. Well, I don't want to hear it, you're Aaron Rodgers. Make it work somehow, some way. And the other thing is you handpick this team for yourself. So
Yep.
no, nobody is going to feel bad for yourself. Now we get to the I don't know. I honestly, what you saw him as that game was closing out yesterday and beat, broken, battered. We know
Mm.
he's already got 3 broken bones. I mean, his nose all looked all jacked up.
The memes were great coming out of that one.
100%. You definitely got some of the, he's definitely as far as Home Alone. Yes, those were out there. He looks like one of the wet bandits. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But we're to the point where, look, the offensive line is very good. You don't necessarily have a great running game. Your
Mhm.
passing game isn't that great. What are you doing? What gets you excited about anything Pittsburgh Steelers related right now? I just don't necessarily see it. The only thing going good right now for the Pittsburgh Steelers is that Cincinnati saved you at least another week or
Yeah.
2 on late Thanksgiving night.
You're right, and he's just back to his old shtick of throwing players right under the bus post game. It's like I've had everybody who knows me knows I have a lot of Aaron Rodgers thoughts and feelings that I won't share on here, but it's just a hard watch. It's a hard watch in every single way right now, and for him to be throwing his players under the bus like that, what kind of leader in that is that? Especially in this moment when you do have a genuine chance to win the division, not because of how you're playing, but because of everyone around you how they're playing. There were clear and loud chants last night with the game of fire Mike Tomlin at the stadium. How safe is his job in Pittsburgh? It feels like the cries are getting louder.
Well, the thing I mean, go ahead
Do
and
you
do
blame
it.
him?
I mean, well, yeah, that obviously the team doesn't look good, but I mean, are we gonna go by 1 year of Mike Tomlin, or are we gonna go by, 16, 17 years of, Mike Tomlin? And look, to be fair, he had a really nice long run with one quarterback. It's been shaky after that quarterback.
Mhm.
Mike Tomlin, if he chooses, would be unemployed for probably about 9, maybe 10 minutes
Yeah.
before he had another place to go. Sometimes things do run their course, but this was something I was kind of adamant about last year. Pittsburgh was in a prime opportunity to maybe go draft a guy like Jackson Dart. They went this
Mhm.
Aaron Rodgers route. And the problem with Pittsburgh, and oh, well, he always makes the playoffs, or they always will make five. The problem is
Always over
with getting
500.
those 8, 9 wins every year, it puts them in the draft position somewhere in the 20s. So it
Yes.
puts them out of getting that quarterback. You want to let him go? That's fine. And I'll be honest, looking at it from other teams' perspectives, if you think the problem is Mike Tomlin, then, by all means, there are a lot of teams that would love to have Mike Tomlin in for an interview.